What's up, you beautiful people? I'm the Danger Dave, and welcome back to Arkham Asylum. So, this is going to begin the Riddler trophy cleanup videos. Now, these videos are going to be a little bit longer than my normal episodes. I'd say they'd be about 30 minutes or so, just so I can grab as many trophies as I can, as fast as I can, just so I don't take up too much of your guys' time. Because watching me run around and collect Riddler trophies is pretty boring, and the commentary for that would also be pretty boring. So how I'm going to tackle this is I'm going to grab all of the trophies outside first, starting with this area right here first, and then I'll be working my way inside to get all the trophies there. And I will be saving the penitentiary for last. As it's right next door to the doorway to the final boss. And this commentary is post-commentary because, like I said, watching me do this is really boring, and the commentary for that wouldn't really be anything interesting. So I figured I'd do it this way so I can talk to you about one of the comic books that inspired Arkham Asylum, and that is Batman, Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious earth. Written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by Dave McCain. And the artwork in this book is really dirty, it's really gritty, and for a while I wasn't a fan of it, but over the years I've grown to appreciate it, because it definitely has the look and the feel of a horror movie, and I think that blends and works really well with the story being told here. So, A Serious House on Serious Earth is the definitive Arkham Asylum book. There are other books that take place inside Arkham Asylum, such as Shadow of the Bat #1, where Batman gets himself put into Arkham Asylum so he can hunt down Victor Zsasz. And that's actually a really good read, one I do recommend. But we're not talking about that one, we're talking about A Serious House on Serious Earth. So this book begins with a passage from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. "But I don't want to go among mad people," Alice remarked. "Oh, you can't help that," said the cat. "We're all mad here. I'm mad, you're mad." "How do you know I'm mad?" said Alice. "You must be," said the cat, "or you wouldn't have come here." And this quote is a sign of things to come. In fact, you could see Alice as Batman and the cat being the Joker. So it does set up this story very nicely. So, Arkham Asylum begins with a passage from Amadeus Arkham's diary. And he's telling about himself as a child after his father passes away, and he's taking care of his ill mother. And he says that the house that they live in had become his whole world, and he feels like a ghost haunting its corridors. And he offers his mother a plate of food, insisting that she eats it, but she tells him that she's already eaten, and some beetles fall out of her mouth. And Amadeus mentions the beetle as a symbol of rebirth, and she has been reborn into that other world on the dark side, a world of magic and terror and mysterious symbols. So, Batman answers the bat signal, and Commissioner Gordon tells him that the patients of Arkham Asylum have taken over the facility and a riot has broken out, and that they have taken hostages. And among the hostages are Dr. Charles Cavendish, Arkham's administrator, and Dr. Ruth Adams, a therapist there, and that they want Batman to come to the asylum, and that they're being led by the Joker. And Batman tells Joker, well, what if I refuse to come to the asylum? And Joker begins to threaten a blind girl with a pencil. And Commissioner Gordon tells Batman that you don't have to go, and that it's understandable if you're afraid given Arkham's reputation. And Batman tells Commissioner Gordon, Batman is afraid of nothing. But he is afraid, referring to himself, Bruce Wayne, and that he's afraid that everything the Joker has said about him is true, and that he sometimes questions his own actions, and he's afraid that once the doors of Arkham close behind him, that it's going to feel like coming home. So, back at the asylum, Harvey Dent, Two-Face's mental health has really gone downhill as a result of Dr. Ruth's therapy. She has taken away Two-Face's trademark coin and given him a six-sided die and a deck of tarot cards, giving him a number of choices. And she's hoping to cure him of his condition where he makes every decision with a flip of a coin. However, it's not really going well. In fact, it actually has the exact opposite effect, as that now Two-Face can no longer make any decisions, even simple ones like going to the bathroom, because it takes too long to flip through the cards. So Batman enters the asylum and demands that the Joker releases the hostages, which he does, but Dr. Cavendish and Ruth insisted on staying, so saying that they couldn't let the asylum be in the hands of the Joker, or so they say. And Joker wants Batman to have a session with Dr. Ruth. And Dr. Ruth is kind of like, well, that's not going to be necessary. But Batman says it's okay, he's not afraid. And of course, the results are exactly what you think they'd be. Batman begins having flashes of the night his parents had died. Joker then forces Batman into a sick game of hide-and-seek and gives him 1 hour to escape Arkham Asylum before his adversaries are sent to hunt him down and kill him. And Batman eventually, he refuses at first, but Joker shoots a prison guard in the head and threatens to kill Dr. Ruth. So Batman agrees and begins to rush through the asylum to find a way to escape. Now, the other inmates tell Joker that they're bored, and Joker shortens the time limit to 1 hour to 10 minutes. And as Batman rushes through the asylum, he faces many of his rogues gallery, including Clayface, Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, and Maxie Zeus. Batman then gets into a confrontation with Killer Croc and is chucked out a window. And Batman grabs a statue of the Archangel Michael. Batman grabs the spear on the statue and climbs back into the asylum to confront Croc. And he stabs Croc with the spear, but Croc also impales Batman with the same spear, and the spear is broken in two, and Croc is hurled out the window. Batman then rips the spear out of him, and eventually reaches a secret room hidden high in the towers of Arkham Asylum, and inside he finds Cavendish, dressed in a bridal gown and threatening Dr. Ruth with a razor. And Batman says, "It was you. You're the one who orchestrated the riots." And Cavendish has Batman read a passage from the diary of Amadeus Arkham. And it is revealed that Amadeus's mentally ill mother suffered delusions of a supernatural bat entity, and that Amadeus began seeing the supernatural bat himself, and he slits his own mother's throat to end her suffering. And he blocks out the entire memory of this happening, and it only returns to him when Mad Dog Hawkins rapes and murders Arkham's wife and daughter. Severely traumatized by this, Arkham begins to wear his mother's wedding dress and a razor and vows to bind the evil spirit of the bat with sorcery. He treats Hawkins for months, basically torturing him, until he is killed by shock therapy. Arkham continues his work until he's eventually incarcerated in his own asylum and uses his own bloody fingernails to scratch the binding spell all over his cell until he dies. And Cavendish discovered the diary, the blade, and the dress, and believes that it's his destiny to continue Amadeus's work. So on April Fool's Day, the day Arkham's family was murdered, Cavendish released all the patients to lure Batman to the asylum, believing that Batman is the evil bat spirit that Amadeus spoke of, as he's really the only bat that Cavendish knows of in Gotham. And Cavendish basically blames Batman for feeding the evil of the asylum, as he brought more and more inmates to Arkham Asylum. And Batman tries to talk Cavendish out of this, but Cavendish is having none of this and lunges at Batman and attacks him. But just then, Dr. Ruth grabs the blade and slashes Cavendish's throat. Batman then picks up an axe and begins to chop down the doors of Arkham and turns to the inmates and say, "You're free to go." And Joker mentions, "Well, why shouldn't we just kill you? There's no way you could possibly take us all on." And Batman then tosses Two-Face's coin, which he grabbed from Dr. Ruth, and gives it back to Two-Face and says, "My fate will be decided by Harvey. If the scarred side comes up, then the inmates get to kill the Batman. But if the good side shows up, Batman is free to go." And Joker loves this idea because Harvey is really far gone, and it's really hard for Harvey to make any decisions on his own. So Harvey flips the coin, and Batman is free to go. And as Batman vanishes into the night, the Joker bids him a farewell and says that if you ever get tired of the asylum, and he's not talking about Arkham Asylum, he's talking about the outside world, the normal life. If you ever grow tired of the asylum, there's always a home for you here. And it's shown at the end of the book that the coin actually landed on the scarred side, and it was basically Harvey's decision to let Batman go. And the book ends with another quote from Alice in Wonderland: "Who cares for you? You're just nothing but a deck of cards." So, A Serious House on Serious Earth is a really good read. I highly recommend it. In fact, I think I would put it on the list of must-read Batman books. It's just a really good read. That's all I really can say about it. It's dark, it's gritty, so if you like that stuff, it's definitely a book for you. And Arkham Asylum was first appeared in Batman 258. On October 1974, and Arkham has been demolished and rebuilt a number of times. First that I can remember is during the last Arkham, which I'm going to talk about in the next video, ladies and gentlemen. But Jeremiah Arkham actually demolished the old asylum and had it completely rebuilt with new state-of-the-art security and all that. But Jeremiah Arkham, he's no saint himself. In fact, he basically kind of followed in Amadeus Arkham's footsteps. And Jeremiah is the nephew to Amadeus Arkham. It was damaged in the Nightfall story arc when Bane blew up a good chunk of it to release the inmates. In No Man's Land, it was, well, it wasn't completely destroyed. The doors were opened on the order of Jeremiah Arkham, because he was like, I can either keep the doors sealed and watch the inmates kill each other, or I can just open the doors and let them out into Gotham. And let's see. For a time in the New 52, Arkham Asylum was completely destroyed. That was in Batman Eternal. And the asylum was completely demolished by the inmates. And Batman actually goes bankrupt in that storyline. And the city seizes Wayne Manor. And it becomes the new Arkham Asylum. And Batman agrees to this, as since he knows the manor like the back of his hand, he can keep a closer eye on the inmates that way. So he seals off the Batcave and basically monitors the inmates from the Batcave, which, that sounds healthy, doesn't it? And Arkham has always sort of been depicted as having really terrible security, as a number of inmates always seem to break out, like Joker and a number of others. And some people refer to Arkham Asylum as a revolving door, where just criminals come in and then they just kind of let themselves out. So some people sort of blame Batman for this, as it's not really a permanent solution, as he's purposely keeps Arkham Asylum it's sort of in the state it's in, so he can go out and play hero. I don't know if that's true or not. That's up to debate. But if you really think about it, Batman, if he really wanted to, could use his wealth to really beef up security in Arkham, to keep it, really make sure the inmates stay in there. In fact, that's something that me and my friends have always kind of talked about, where why doesn't Batman just kind of equip the police officers with better equipment, using Wayne Tech and all that stuff. You know, it is kind of weird. You know, if I was Batman, I would definitely be making sure Arkham Asylum becomes as secure as possible, and basically enabling the police officers to be better at their jobs with better equipment, because that is sort of a plot point in No Man's Land, as Commissioner Gordon does try to get a new job as a commissioner elsewhere, not in Gotham City, and a lot of the other cops just kind of laugh at him, because they're like, well, you need a vigilante in your city to help keep order, so you're not a very good cop. And that kind of gets under Gordon's skin, because he's always wanted to be a really good cop. Because it's sort of like a running joke where people are like, you know, if you ever feel useless, just remember Gotham City has a police department. And really, Batman's really the only thing standing in between Gotham and the mad criminals. It's sort of at a point where Gotham needs Batman at this point. But anyway, I'm getting a little off topic here, folks. Now, I think I mentioned it at some point during this Let's Play, but Arkham isn't exactly always for inmates that are, mentally ill and psychotic, as sometimes Arkham is used to hold prisoners with special conditions. Like I mentioned, Mr. Freeze, they built a refrigerated cell for him so he could be brought here because Mr. Freeze really isn't insane. I guess he's insane in New 52, but we're not gonna talk about that. But also, people like Killer Croc, you know, he can't really be held at, like, Blackgate. So, usually if certain inmates are, like, insane or have, like, a special condition, they're just brought to Arkham. But if they're just normal inmates, then they're brought to Blackgate. And the animated series had quite a number of episodes taking place inside Arkham Asylum. One being Dreams in Darkness, which is a animated series, a retelling of the last Arkham. Only instead of Victor Zsasz, because Zsasz is a little too extreme for the animated series, so they made it Scarecrow. And then that episode, Batman gets a big whiff of Scarecrow's fear toxin and crashes the Batmobile, and people think he's insane when really he's just tripping out on Scarecrow's fear gas. And he's trying to tell people that Scarecrow has this insane plot to release a bunch of fear gas underneath in the caverns of Arkham Asylum so that it affects Gotham. And people just kind of think Batman's insane, so he has to break out of his cell. And while tripping and hallucinating on the fear gas, travel to where Scarecrow is and stop him. And it's a really good episode. There's also the episode where... crap, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head right now. But it's the episode where that lawyer has to represent Batman and Arkham Asylum as the villains have Batman in court. And she is a very anti-Batman person, where she's like, you know, it's your presence that draws these crazy people to Gotham and makes these people do these things. And as she's representing Batman, she eventually comes to the conclusion of, well, yeah, you guys are insane, but you're basically just blaming Batman for your problems, you know. Even without Batman, you guys would still be out there in the world doing your crazy stuff. Sure, you wouldn't have the flamboyant costumes and personas, but you'd still be out there basically harming citizens and stuff like that. And the ending of that episode is like, you know, I get it now. She's like, I get it now, Batman, while you're doing this, but I'm still going to work towards a world that doesn't need Batman. And Batman says, me too. And that's always sort of been a theme around Batman, where he's a hero out to make himself unnecessary. He doesn't really want to be Batman. In fact, he's always said that he could stop being Batman whenever he wants. But that day's not going to be today, and tomorrow's not going to be either. You know, he's not going to stop until there's no crime in Gotham. And there have been comics where he does sort of, you know, basically purge all of the evil from Gotham. But they've mostly been like oh my god, I am having a stroke here, people. Elseworld stories, like Earth 2 stuff. So... it's all pretty interesting. Alright, folks, so now I just have 3 more Riddler trophies to go right now. And they're going to be the 3 trophies that I couldn't get near the beginning of the game when I was rescuing the doctors. So we gotta go back there. It's actually not too far from here, to be quite honest. It's not too much of a trek. And I couldn't get these ones because I didn't have the right gadget at the time. Okay. Almost there. Just gotta do a little backtracking. Alright, go through this little tunnel again. And I do recommend you guys grab as many Riddler trophies as you can while playing the story. Just because it'll make it'll save you some time down the road when you are doing cleanup. You can honestly grab all of the trophies after you beat the game, if that's more your speed. But I usually just grab as many of them as I can before I fight the final boss. Right? And you've seen me do this a lot in this video. I absolutely love using the line launcher to zip from place to place. It's just faster than running, and it's just reflexes for me right now. It's a lot like backdashing in Simply a Night. It's just muscle memory. I just immediately start doing it, so apologies if that gets on some of you guys' nerves. But we're going in here right now, and there was a Riddler trophy in here that I couldn't get because I didn't have the Bat Claw at the time. It's hidden in a vent in the wall up here. Right there. But since I have the Ultra Bat Claw, I can yank this stuff off a lot faster. And I'm actually kind of sad. The Ultra Bat Claw never does make a return. You know, I kind of get it. It's a gadget Batman sort of just made on the spur of the moment, and it is a bit bulky, I guess, to put in his utility belt. I mean, let's be honest. Batman's utility belt is basically a black hole of, like, gadgets at this point. I think the most ridiculous gadget he had was that sword, that collapsible sword he had in his utility belt in Brave and the Bold. And that became a reoccurring thing. It wasn't just like a one-off. It's kind of funny. But anyway, we're heading to the second one. And this one was by the Hush little Easter egg. But we couldn't get to this one because we didn't have the cryptographic sequencer. Come on. For fuck's sake. There we go. Booyah. And just up the steps is your Riddler trophy. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. I absolutely love at this point in the story because Riddler is really just getting more and more irritated with you because you keep finding the trophies. And he's like, how are you doing this? It's just fun to see him get irritated. Alright, last one. And it's going to be in the room where you rescued Dr. Young. It's going to be downstairs here. As always, remember you can just follow the lines on the floor to get you where you need to go. Line launcher! So much fun. Zip. And then in here, it's going to be, first we got to zip on top of this little room here. And then we got to yank this weak portion of the wall out. And I was trying to jump there, but I guess Batman can't quite make that. And here's another Chronicles of Arkham. This is a long one, if I remember correctly.
Curse me for a fool. How could I not see it until now? The monster had a confederate. I hid in the darkness near his cell and saw with my own eyes one of the doctors whispering to him. She looked at him through the transparent barrier with tenderness, with, dare I say, desire. My skin crawled with revulsion as she kissed the glass. Fighting the urge to dash the woman's head through the glass, I let her continue. The damnable clown might have shared secrets with her that would be useful once the mad dog has been executed. I'm sure the woman will reveal what she knows to me. If not willingly, then certainly under electronic persuasion. After that, a lobotomy, I think. Unfortunate for one so young. But her lust has put the reputation of Arkham at stake. Yes, a lobotomy. The very thing. There is no other way to ensure her silence in this regrettable matter.
And that's also another thing you'll notice about the Chronicles of Arkham is that the more you collect and listen to, you'll notice the storyteller goes more and more insane the further you read into them. But that was the last one for the medical facility, people. Let's go ahead and get out of here. Oh, stupid gurney.
Premier psychiatric evaluation and rehabilitation center is developed. Everyone knows the stories of the various so-called super criminals who've been treated here.
Alright. Now we can finally get out of the medical facility. And I do get a bit turned around here. My general thinking here was, okay, the way to get out of here is to go over here to this vent right here and backtrack all the way out from when you broke in here. And then I remembered, wait a minute, I don't have to do that because the doors down here. You can get through there now. And then just being an idiot here, where I'm just like, the doors are down here. And then I'm like, oh, no, they're not. The doors are above me. It's fine. And here we go. Light launcher! Whee! Don't! Stupid TV. And then, oh, come on, Batman. You can just scooch past that, can't you? Alright, folks, well, that's going to be all the time I have for right now. Join me next time while we continue the Riddler Trophy collecting festivities, and I talk about The Last Arkham. So, if you like this episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next episode. Thank you all for watching. You guys have a fantastic day.